Welcome to Truth Report, the show that cuts through the noise and delivers the unvarnished facts behind the headlines. I'm Alex Truth, and tonight, we're dissecting the dangerous dance of global power, where alliances fray, weapons deals soar, and the truth is often the first casualty.
And I'm Maya Clarity. From the escalating arms race in the Middle East to the quiet erosion of traditional Western alliances, we're looking past the official statements to expose who truly benefits and who pays the price for the world's ongoing conflicts. This isn't about what happened, but why.
Let's start in the Middle East, where the engines of war continue to spin. Al Jazeera reports that Israel has approved a massive purchase of advanced fighter jets from the U.S., 2 new combat squadrons of F-35 and F-15IA aircraft from Lockheed Martin and Boeing. This isn't merely an upgrade, it's a significant escalation.
Exactly, Alex. While framed as strengthening Israel's defense, what they're not telling you is the sheer scale of the financial commitment, often heavily subsidized by U.S. taxpayer dollars through military aid. This deal directly enriches American defense contractors, ensuring the cycle of military spending continues unabated, regardless of geopolitical realities on the ground.
And the consequences are dire. While Lockheed Martin and Boeing shareholders celebrate, the people of Palestine and the broader region face a future dominated by an even more overwhelming military imbalance. This isn't about deterrence, it's about maintaining a qualitative military edge that stifles any genuine push for a peaceful resolution, perpetuating a status quo of conflict.
This isn't just a transaction, it's a strategic move solidifying U.S. influence and arming a key regional ally, often at the expense of regional stability. It signals continued implicit support for actions that have drawn international condemnation, further entrenching the military-industrial complex's hold on foreign policy decisions in a critical part of the world.
So, while the mainstream media might report this as a routine defense acquisition, the truth is it's a multi-billion-dollar injection into the war machine, ensuring that profits for a select few continue to outweigh the human cost of conflict. It's a prime example of how the business of war thrives on perpetual tension.
Shifting gears to a different theater of U.S. military operations, The Guardian reports 2 U.S. service members are missing after military exercises in Morocco. A search and rescue operation is underway near the southwestern city of Tan following the annual African Lion multinational drills.
This incident, though tragic, shines a light on the increasing, yet often underreported, U.S. military footprint across Africa. AFRICOM, the U.S. Africa Command, has expanded its operations significantly under the guise of counterterrorism and training. What they don't tell you is the true purpose and extent of these deployments.
These training exercises like African Lion are critical for projecting U.S. power and influence, often positioning the continent as a new front in global geopolitical competition. While sold as stability operations, they frequently introduce foreign military presence into fragile regions, potentially fueling local conflicts or drawing African nations into broader power struggles.
The human cost, like these missing service members, is a stark reminder of the risks involved, yet it's rarely scrutinized. We're told these operations are for security, but whose security? The U.S. benefits from strategic positioning and access to resources, while local populations often bear the brunt of any destabilization or unintended consequences from these foreign military ventures.
And let's be clear, the narrative of purely defensive exercises often masks a deeper agenda of maintaining strategic dominance and countering the growing influence of powers like China and Russia on the continent. The missing personnel highlight the tangible dangers, yet the larger strategic game remains obscured from public discourse.
From Africa, let's turn to Europe, where fissures in traditional alliances are widening. Middle East Eye reports that former President Trump has stated the U.S. will withdraw a lot more troops from Germany, building on earlier announcements of troop reductions. This isn't just rhetoric, it's a tangible shift with profound implications.
Indeed, Alex. This move, framed by Trump as a cost-saving measure or a punishment for Germany's defense spending, is far more than that. It directly undermines NATO's collective defense capabilities, particularly on its eastern flank, and sends a clear message of disengagement from a long-standing alliance.
The mainstream media often reports this as a political spat, but the real story is the strategic void it creates. Who benefits? Potentially Russia, as a weakened NATO lessens pressure on its borders. Who loses? Germany, which sees its security architecture destabilized, and the entire concept of a unified Western Front.
What's largely ignored is the deep mistrust and uncertainty this breeds among traditional allies. It forces European nations to reevaluate their defense strategies and potentially seek alternatives to U.S. leadership, fundamentally altering the post-Cold War security landscape, perhaps irrevocably.
This isn't just about saving money, it's about a deliberate dismantling of alliances that have underpinned global stability for decades. It's a power play, signaling to both allies and adversaries that the US is retreating from its long-held role, leaving a vacuum ripe for new geopolitical maneuvers.
And this brings us directly to our next story. The South China Morning Post asks how China can best profit from Trump's latest rift with traditional US allies. The answer, according to analysts, is to deny the US the chance to redirect attention towards China and let Washington's own actions do the work.
This is critical, Maya. While Washington is busy fracturing its own alliances, Beijing is strategically positioned to expand its influence. Who benefits? Clearly China, gaining diplomatic leverage and economic opportunities as Europe potentially looks eastward for new partnerships and investment.
The US loses credibility and global standing when it openly attacks its closest allies, as Trump has done by threatening to quit NATO. This self-inflicted damage creates a perfect opening for China to present itself as a stable, reliable partner, especially to nations disillusioned with American inconsistency.
What the mainstream narrative often downplays is the long-term strategic game China is playing. This isn't about short-term gains, it's about a fundamental shift in the global balance of power. A disunited West, consumed by internal squabbles, presents less of a united front against China's growing ambitions.
Analysts suggest China's priority is to patiently observe, allowing the US to continue alienating its allies, thereby weakening Western collective action. This strategic restraint allows Beijing to avoid direct confrontation while steadily enhancing its own geopolitical standing, without firing a single shot.
So, while US politicians debate the merits of isolationism, the consequences are already playing out on the global stage, quietly reshaping the future balance of power. The world watches as former alliances crumble, and new spheres of influence begin to emerge, with profound implications for everyone.
Finally, let's address the insidious undercurrent of division and hate that often accompanies these geopolitical shifts. Middle East Eye reports Green Party leader Zack Polanski condemned a vile antisemitic caricature published in the Times. This isn't just a cartoon, it's a symptom of a deeper malaise.
This incident highlights a disturbing trend in media, the casual normalization of harmful stereotypes. What they're not telling you is the systemic failure of editorial oversight that allows such imagery to proliferate, feeding into existing prejudices and legitimizing hate speech under the guise of commentary.
Such caricatures aren't just offensive, they are dangerous. They dehumanize, they reinforce ancient tropes, and they contribute directly to a climate where antisemitism and other forms of hatred can fester and grow. This isn't about freedom of speech, it's about journalistic responsibility and the weaponization of media.
The immediate condemnation by Polanski is welcome, but it's not enough. We must question why such an image was deemed acceptable for publication in the first place. Who benefits from sowing division and prejudice? Often, it's those who seek to distract from real issues or consolidate power through fear and scapegoating.
This isn't an isolated incident, it's part of a broader pattern of declining journalistic ethics and the proliferation of divisive content in an increasingly polarized world. When media outlets allow such hateful imagery, they become complicit in eroding civil discourse and endangering vulnerable communities.
From the profiteering of war machines to the deliberate fracturing of alliances, and the insidious spread of hate through our media, the patterns of power are clear. Those in power consolidate wealth and influence, often at the expense of stability, human dignity, and the truth itself.
The mainstream narrative is a carefully constructed facade. It's designed to keep you from questioning the beneficiaries of conflict, the real reasons behind military expansions, or the erosion of democratic values. We must demand accountability from our leaders and our media.
It is our collective responsibility to look beyond the headlines, challenge the official stories, and hold power accountable. Demand transparency from your governments, question the narratives presented by corporate media, and support independent journalism that dares to speak truth.
The world is at a critical juncture. The decisions made today, from arms deals to troop withdrawals, will shape our future. Don't be a passive observer. Inform yourselves, engage in critical thought, and insist on a world built on justice, not profit or prejudice.
For Truth Report, I'm Alex Truth.
And I'm Maya Clarity. We'll see you next time, with more stories they don't want you to hear.